Today, we're looking at a blue ink by PensBBS, their number 181. As always, there's timestamps down below in the description so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, I'd appreciate you, and it really would help me out if you check out the entire video. If you don't know, I'm an ink guy. If you're interested in other blue inks, then there's a link to a playlist down in the description. To standardize some of the writing samples, 3 papers are always used: Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia dot pad. Let's take a look at the first one, 90 GSM Clairfontaine. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo sheen, moments of shade. Look at how that 8 is definitely lighter than the ones on both sides. Haitian starts lighter, works its way much darker, and then becomes lighter again. The extra fine is a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather, spread, halo sheen, some very nice shading going on in this light blue. It goes from lighter to darker. Quick goes lighter to darker, goes dark to light at the bottom of the Q up into the U, and much darker again, where brown starts dark and gets light. 10 seconds to dry. Medium is about the same tone as the extra fine, with no feather, spread, halo sheen, better shading than the extra fine. Brown starts darker, gets light, and gets dark again. Over starts light and works its way dark. Lazy starts dark, works its way light, and becomes dark again. 15 seconds to dry. Now the scrubbies, far left to far right, both show good color variation, and we got it. And the smear test, I think you could recover this if you smeared while you were writing. To have a range of experience with this ink, all of the writing samples are done with this Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, this Jinhao X450 with a medium, and this Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then a Franklin Christoph Model 66 with a broad sig nib was inked up, used for a day, and used to take the notes for this video. Now, let's take a look at the second standard paper, 52 GSM Tomoe River. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo sheen, no real shading. The extra fine is a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather, spread, halo sheen, no shade, 15 seconds to dry. The medium is a tad bit darker than the extra fine, a little lighter than the stub, with no feather, spread, halo sheen, some moments of shading. Brown starts dark, works its way lighter, where Fox starts lighter and works its way darker. The starts lighter and works its way darker. 19 seconds to dry. The scrubby for the extra fine shows no color variation. We didn't get any. The medium shows it, and we did get it. The smear test, you probably couldn't recover it if you smeared while we were writing. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down, and it's immediately put in the water for 10 to 15 seconds. We see this kind of grayish line at the bottom, but then it pushes up, and we don't see any real blending. It's all a light blue dye. The one on the right is let dry for 10 minutes before it's dunked into water, and it looks exactly the same. So I'm not expecting any kind of real resistance, but I do wonder about that light gray line on the bottom. The last standard paper is 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather, spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather, spread, halo sheen. It does offer some shading, going from kind of its mid to its darkers. Now, all of these are lighter blues, but look at Fox. It starts as its darker version, to its lighter version, to its darker version again. Lazy starts darker and works its way lighter. 12 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the extra fine, with no feather, spread, halo sheen, still some decent shading. Brown starts dark, works its way light. Fox starts light, works its way dark. 16 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show good color variation, and we got it in the writing. The smear test says you could likely recover this if you smeared while you were writing. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. The smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, I'm going straight to the lowercase h where there's quite a bit of blowout. Now, Otherwise, it's performing well, but that amount of blowout makes me very risk averse. I don't want to highlight in my notes if it's very important and lose any of it, so I probably would not use this in a note-taking situation. Water's reactivating and lifting most of it, but that kind of gray tone that we saw in the chromatography is still there, left behind. Pen Flush did everything that water did and nothing more. That kind of grayish tone is still left in place as it didn't move it. The 1/3 bleach solution did completely remove all of the blue and that grayish tone that was there. Now it only took water to get this out of my pen. Additional writing samples are done on different papers that change up all the time in order to have more experience with more paper. This next one is done on Apica CD notebooks. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. Now the extra fine is about the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, some light shading that's going on. You see the starts a little lighter and gets a little darker. Fox starts a little light or a little darker, gets a little lighter, then a little darker again. So the shading is here. 6 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, a little bit better shading. Quick starts dark, gets lighter, gets darker again. Fox starts dark, gets lighter, gets darker again, and 9 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby for both do show good color variation, although I think it looked much better in the medium. And the smear test says you could likely recover this if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, there is an average viscosity or flow of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. PensBBS 181 has a viscosity of 3.05, making this a very dry ink. If you're interested in how the viscosity is tested or how the bell curve's made, then there's a link for that video down in the description. The next writing sample is done on black and red notebooks. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is about the same tone as the stub, maybe a little bit lighter. With no feather spread, halo sheen, some nice shading. Look at how brown goes darker to lighter, over goes lighter to darker. 4 seconds to dry. Medium is about the same tone as the extra fine, with no feather spread, halo sheen, still some nice shading. Jumps goes light to dark, over goes light to dark, brown goes dark to light. 6 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both far left to far right do show some good color variation, and we get it in the writing. The smear test, you could recover this if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, there is an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. PensBBS 181 has an average dry time of 15 seconds, making it normal. The last writing sample is done on Franklin Christoph paper. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is a bit lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, some shading going on. Brown starts dark and goes light. Quick goes from dark to a mid-tone, back to dark to mid-tone to dark again. Not too bad. 5 seconds to dry. Medium is about the same tone as the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen. It has shading though. Fox starts dark, gets light, and gets dark again. Lazy is a much lighter tone than the word brown. 6 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both do show some good color variation, and we get it, and the smear test says you could likely recover it if you smeared while you were writing. Instead of finding inks that look like PensBBS 181, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I didn't want to draw attention away from this blue, but I wanted to take advantage of that kind of gray undertone that was there. So I went with a gray ink by Bookbingers Ground Rattler Snake. If you'd prefer to look at a different complement color, then take a look down in the description where you will see playlists by color. So what do I think of PensBBS 181? This is a decent light blue as a tone. It shades very nice as a result of it being so light, but isn't too light to read comfortably on the page. This really is a calming blue tone. I find this to be very enjoyable to use. So what nib and pen will give the best writing experience with this ink? I really think a medium flow stub has the opportunity to show off more of that shading that this ink has. It shows it has it. We just have to bring it forward a bit more. I hope you got something out of this video, and tomorrow we're going to be taking a look at Pelikan Edelstein's Jade.